In a very special way, I want to welcome you wherever you're watching from. If you're watching from Africa, Malawi, we are streaming live today on Facebook. We are on Honorable Timothy Mtambo's Facebook page. So take a moment just to invite somebody, the Civic Education Minister and National Unity Minister in Malawi, Honorable Comrade Timothy Mtambo, want to have a special segment of engaging with the citizen. So he's launching a special initiative today, and we want you to be over courtesy today. Poke somebody, invite somebody. The comrade is here to talk to the nation. I am excited. My name is Minister Mahara. I am in the United States, but I'm very excited because the comrade minister has chosen just to use some of us in the diaspora. Every time, most of the times, we have always complained that the diaspora community is always left behind. So I want to welcome some of my friends here today that will join the comrade. I have Miss Canga Kamwambi all the way from, I think, Boston. Canga, I want to welcome you.
Thank you very much, Minister Mhango. Thank you, thank you. And yes, I am in the Boston area, a little bit north of Boston, though.
Tikuti mai Canga Kamwambi iwo andi Malawi nditu msangoona kuyankula chizunguji. Chichewa chiya mata kuyankula so koma ndili ndi mbale uyu Chalo Mvula from United Kingdom. Mr. Chalo Mvula tikulandireni comrade pano pa the Malawi Citizen Chat Network. Ndetikulandireni mwapaderadera kuti you are here to have a good discourse with the comrade.
Tatokoza kwambiri Minister Mahara, zonadi ine Chalo Mvula kuchokera kuno ku Manchester, United Kingdom, ndipo ndilosanga to be part of this initiative.
So pano mwapaderadera ndi kufuna ndi alandire iwowa anduna comrade Timothy Mtambo, the man who has organized this network and is launching this network. Honorable, I want to welcome you in a special way. We want to thank you for having us on this forum with you today. Tukuzori munindi zambiri zori mwayankule ya Malawi. This is a kuti yankule chijewa kuti forum imwenena kuti ndiyanzika. It's not for those who are elites or for the leaders, but it's for nditu nzika za ku Malawi. Mufuna mupange nao communicate, mupange engage. Ndetu kufuna muna tikupaseni kampata padakale pano pa musana tuze chimene mu kufuna mwauza Malawi kunena kuti kodi nkhani ya the Malawi Citizen Chat Network cheni ndi chani chimene choti Malawi amvesese kuti chimene mwakonzera ndi chani.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Mahara. I welcome you, Comrade Charo, and I welcome you, Comrade Canga. Greetings to all comrades, all Malawian citizens in Malawi as well as in diaspora. You know, this platform is a platform that I thought we could have a platform where citizens could proudly interact, engage, discuss issues, constructively criticize each other as we collectively work towards the same common goal of prospering Malawi, of ensuring that our country becomes the envy of the world. We know where we are coming from, but we need to ask ourselves whether we understand where we are. Kuti pamene tafika tikupadziwa. So pano pamene tafika pano. Do we understand the future? So this platform is a platform of engagement, a platform that is going to promote civic engagement, a platform that will be used as a civic education platform as well. We want to give citizens an opportunity to express themselves. When we take an oath for public office, we take that oath before God and before the people of our republic. So the current administration is basically ensuring that we in public offices should not be bulletproofed when it comes to accountability. So this initiative is going to promote accountability. I'm welcoming all the comrades in Malawi and beyond the shores that let's put our hands together and soldier a new beginning of our country and support the leadership so that we become citizens who are meaningfully contributing to the development trajectory of our country. Iyi ndenkani tukambirana pano kuti tiyeni tizikumana tizikambirana pano tizikumana ndi anthu osiyana-siyana achinyamata azigogo anzatu amene ali kunja tikati kumana nkhani zosiyana-siyana ndeti kuti amalawi tisamafere nkati tisamafinyike iyayi tikamaka ndi mafunzo tiyeni tikambirane chifukwa tachokera limodzi konseko pamene tafika pano tiyeni tiziuzana zoona zokazoka kuti tingaende bwanji kuti timange tsogolo labwino la dziko lathu tingaende bwanji kuti tipange support a president yathu amene ali ndi masomphenya abwino ndi dziko lathu. So I welcome you to this platform, and monga mukuonera pali anzatu amene ali kunja kwa Malawi pano pali anzatu oti ali ku diaspora nthawi yambiri anzatu ali kunja kusitima agwirisa ntchito. We thought we should be engaging them. Ndi amalawi amene ali ndi kutekera kosiyana-siyana ndi ma experts osiyana-siyana. We have got experts in health, we have got experts in administration, we have experts in law, we have experts in faith issues. So we have underutilized our diaspora. Yesterday I had a very productive discussion with Malawians in diaspora where we are discussing on issues to do with COVID-19 and how we can raise awareness to our citizens to make sure that every citizen should be privileged to information when it comes to how best they can prevent COVID-19 and how best they can ensure that they become part and parcel in the fight against the COVID-19. So I thank you so much, those that are watching. It's time for us to start constructively engaging each other for the betterment of Malawi. Thank you very much, Mr. Mahara. Thank you very much, Comrade Canga. Thank you very much, Comrade Chalo.
Anduna takumva ndi pamene pa mukuyankha momveka bwinobwino ndithu kunena kuti ichichi chimene mwapanga apa chincho kuti it's not about one man komano dziko tikudziwa mmene atonse amayamba kunena kuti amabwera ground ananena kuti iwowo is a listening government, is a government for the people, by the people, for the people. Ndiye noti kufuna noti yambe kumalondoloza zimene anayika ndondomeko zimene anayika ndiye tikuthokozeni mwapadera on behalf of the citizen. And ndiye ankhwano ngati nzika sopano ndikuthokozeni inuyo anduna kuti mwapanga chinthu chimene chichi mwembe matipanga engage and mwapaderaso ndayankhulira anzanga kuno ku diaspora kuno kuti mwatipasa ulemu mwapadera kuti tikhale gulu loyambirira limene mukupanga nalo engage. Nditembenukire kwa inu Mai Canga nkhani mwaimva kunena kuti anduna akuti akufunano atseguke boma lizimva zimene anthu ake akuyankhula chimene inu mungaonjezerepo ndi chani?
I'm going to switch into English if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Anduna Timothy Mtambo Matila Megeza Kwabasi. Kuti itana kuti tikhale nanu masanano tiyankhulena nanu ngati nzika za Malawi zimene zimakhala. So I want to say congratulations formally to you, Honorable Mtambo, face to face, because I know I haven't had the opportunity to do that, on this new role that you hold in the government, as well as the great work that you did for the Malawian people in the run-up towards the fresh presidential elections. Now, this new Ministry of Civic Education and National Unity is somewhat an enigma in Malawi right now, because we've never had such a portfolio in government before. And we understand that when we talk about civic engagement, we talk about civic education, there's two sides to it. There's the advocacy role, which is what we're familiar with. That's what you did up to the fresh presidential elections. And then there's this sort of civic education and engagement role, which is supporting the government's development agenda. For example, we talked on Wednesday, and on Wednesday you were in Mzuzu. You spent the whole day negotiating with some youths over there that wanted to hold a demonstration, and you were able to talk them off the ledge, so to speak. So what are the similarities and differences between these two sides of civic education, the advocacy side and what you're doing now? And how did your prior experience prepare you for this new role?
Mwina mduna musana yanke mwina ndita pauti pale anzathu ambira amene aliso akutionera pa Facebook right kuti mwina tingochita ngati paraphrase mchichewa kunena kuti inuyo tikukudziwani kuti munali amene munatsogolera anthu ambiri kwambiri kumbuyoku ku civil society, kupereka ma demands kuboma, kupanga ma demonstrations aja. Timakuonani kuti ndithu munali symbol of the struggle. Komano pano pamuli mboma imene ili responsibility ina, munali ku demand side, pano muli ku supply or ku management or service delivery side. Chimene akufunsa mai Kamwambi panopa ndichonena kuti kodi pali ma similarities anji ndipo zimene zikusiyana ndi ziti. What are also some of the challenges? Muna titafunsa choncho kuti zikhale ngati zamveka bwinobwino. Tikumva kuti dzuloso munapita ku Mzuzu zimene akufotokoza apa kuti munali ku north kukayankhula ndi anzathu aja aku north, anyamata amene analokwiya kwambiri nzika ku north akuti zinakwiya kunena kuti mwina zinthu zina zake sizikuyenda ndi boma, ndiye akunena kuti inuyo ndi amene munapita. Komano mwina musanayankhe, inenso mwina nditafunsapo kuti inuyo ndi amene munali katswiri wa amene mumadzusa mtundu wa Malawi kuti zinthu zikalakwika, tiyeni tipange mademo pamene papa. Sono pamene papa zikukhala bwanji kuti inuyonso ndi amene mukuoneka kuti ndi amene muli at the center of negotiating kuti kusakhale mwina kukhale mwina peace and all those things. Ndi mwina mungapezepo mpata kuti mutifotokozera.
All right, thanks very much. I really appreciate for your question, Comrade Changa, and thank you very much for extending the same, Comrade Mahara. Yeah, to begin with, I think it's clear that I was from the demand side, now I'm to the supply side. And you know, that difference is for sure. Because in the demand side, you are demanding services, proper services, and you are demanding development, you are demanding accountability, you know, and in the supply side, people are demanding from you, you see. So the difference is basically that, you know, right now, we are the ones who are supposed to supply, who are supposed to provide answers. That time we are demanding for answers. Right now, people are demanding answers from us. I'm very happy to say we're in a government that is very open, a government that is open to engage its citizens, a government that is open to constructive criticism. You know, one of the pillars of the Chakwera leadership is actually servant leadership. We are basically servants, and the citizens are bosses. So in this case, we devote or dedicate our government to accountability. That's why when citizens raise issues, our government is quick to come in and engage the citizens and ensure that the issues that citizens are raising are addressed. I remember, it's not long time ago, comrades like Idris Nassar, they gave a question on issues of COVID-19 funds, and they requested for accountability. You know, we have had governments in the past where when you are demanding accountability, they will actually ignore you. Apart from ignoring you, sometimes they would even start looking for your life. But here is a leadership that is listening. When citizens tried to question, empowered by the access to information law. You know, this is also something that I have to highlight, that for many years, over 13 years, our country was sitting on a very progressive legislation, access to information. And as I speak, you know, civil society was fighting for this to be enacted into law. But it was more or less like an impossibility. But a breakthrough was made. And when the new leadership came in, immediately we made sure that access to information is basically operationalized. This means that we are in a regime that is ready to be held accountable, a regime that is transparent, a regime that is ready to listen to the citizens. That's why quickly, when there was a question from a citizen, the leadership jumped in. And we have never seen this in the history of Malawi, that the leadership has acted as swiftly as what the president did on the accountability of COVID funds. So this is the message that is being sent to the people to say, we are a new leadership that is open for accountability. You know, accountability is very itching. There are many people that like talking about accountability, but it's not easy. When you are the one who is being asked to account, it becomes so difficult. That's why you would find that when people were asking them to account, you find that tomorrow your house is petrol bombed. You find that your car is petrol bombed, because accountability is actually itching. Now, we want to change that perspective. The Minister of Civic Education and National Unity is there to expand and open the civic space. That's why when we heard that citizens in the North wanted to go and demonstrate, to demand their rights, to demand accountability from government, I quickly came in and the president asked me to go to engage my brothers and sisters. When I got there, they raised the issues, very important issues. We engaged, we had a discussion, a very successful discussion. I did not go there to stop them from demonstrating. I went there to engage them in a dialogue process, because our government believes in dialogue. At every given time, we have to listen and engage the citizens. So when I went there, I met our brothers, they raised the issues, we engaged, and eventually they decided to cancel the demonstrations, because they knew that they have delivered the issues, their concerns in my hands, and they knew that I'm going to deliver them to the head of state, our president. So I would like to commend our brothers in the North for listening to the calls from the leadership that they should get into engagement. And we're going to make sure that the issues that were raised, because some of the issues they raised were about youth engagement, that the youth must be involved in the development issues of this country. They raised a number of issues which are to do with development in the northern region. These are the issues which are at the heart of the president. And this administration is actually here to work collectively with the citizens to address the challenges that we have been facing for a long time. So I would like to say, yes, we are now in the supply side. And we know we cannot do it alone. We want to work with the citizens. That's why at each and every step, we want to involve the citizens of this country to make sure that while we dream and think about a better future, it should not be only government doing that, because government is for the people and by the people. So we want our people to be involved. And we're encouraging citizens to be questioning us, to be asking us to account, but in the manner that is dignified. They need to ask us to account in a civil manner, because we are a civilized nation, a nation that has got laws, a nation that has got policies. So this is what we're requesting from the citizens. They should not say, now we have crossed the bridge and we should sit quiet. There is no time to sit quiet. We need active citizens. That is at the core of civics. That is at the core of civic engagement. It's about social and political activism. It's about citizen involvement. The country is as powerful as its citizens. If we have weaker citizens, our country is going to be weak. Now, what we want is to have active and powerful citizens who are going to build a new Malawi.
Thanks, Honorable Minister, for your answer to Changa's question. Mine, I'll start with a comment as well. Basically, I feel you are the right person indeed to lead this thing about citizen engagement, considering that your background itself, you're coming from somebody who was leading the demos in Malawi, leading this thing of having citizens coming together, fighting for a certain cause. But what I want to ask is, I'll take you back a bit. Can we have a look? Because what I've seen is most of the people out there, they really don't understand what civic education is all about. There's quite a lot of confusion, because not necessarily much of confusion, but there's quite a lot of expectation people expecting a lot of what civic education as a ministry can do, or what you can do yourself. If we can look back and try to find out, say, what is civic education and what does it mean for Malawi? I don't know how you can explain that.
Civic education, it's about active citizenship. It's about expanding the civic space. And it's about the citizens, on the other hand, exercising their rights and responsibilities. And the government, on the other hand, exercising its responsibilities. The government actually have got its obligations to fulfill. You know, there is a social contract between citizens and the government. When the citizens pay the taxes, they pay the taxes on the basis to say they are financing their own government. And the duty of the government is to ensure that it promotes citizens' welfare. So the citizen space, which we call the civic space, where the citizens actually engage its government to fulfill its obligations by demanding their rights, by also fulfilling their duties. So there is an aspect of duties that we need to understand. For a long time, we have focused so much on rights, where citizens just talk about their rights. But in rare circumstances, citizens do not talk about their responsibilities. So what about would want to make sure that we have citizens who understand their responsibilities, that where my rights ends, there is also a beginning of my responsibilities. And the government is supposed to ensure that it provides a proper legal and policy framework for citizens to exercise their rights, for citizens to access the social services. So unlike what has been in the past, when citizens are expressing their frustrations, the government tries to threaten them, to stop them. We want to do it differently. What this government wants to do is to ensure that we open avenues of engagement with citizens. Like what happened in Zuzu, we did go to sit on citizens' rights. But before you get to the streets, you need to engage the government. When they fail to fulfill what you want, your demands, then you get to the streets. So when we quickly heard that people want to go to the streets, we rushed to go and engage them. So the space on which the government and citizens interface is what we call the civic space. So the job of my ministry is basically to empower the citizens. And we give the authority to the citizens so that they're able to meaningfully engage in the development and governance of this country. We do not want to get to the level that when civil society organizations express themselves, then we start threatening them. But we want to make sure that we put proper NGO policies and NGO laws. We have to put proper legislations, like we're talking about the access to information, that citizens are able to demand accountability, that citizens are able to demand information at any given time. So civic education transcends just awareness, because somehow people think it's all about awareness, but it goes beyond awareness. It also talks about establishing the structures of engagement. That's why my ministry is setting up what we call the Government Citizen Engagement Forum. This Government Citizen Engagement Forum will be called Pabwaro. We'll be launching this very soon. Under this platform, we'll be giving an opportunity to citizens to engage any government ministry, department, or agency with questions that they have seeking accountability. So it will be more or less like, you know, in the West, people have town halls. They go in a town hall and engage their city authorities. You know, they're ask them questions on how they are managing their city. So we want to replicate that. And in each and every district, we are going to have government and citizens assemblies represented by government officials and the citizens, where they'll be able to engage and discuss how probably, maybe I would say, the money is being utilized at the council level. You see? So this is going to happen because we want citizens to be involved in defining their own destiny. Now is the time that our people should be part and parcel of our development trajectory. There have been a challenge. I can challenge you that we have had a lot of good policies and good laws in this country. But how many people understand that? Because when we're talking about our development agenda or our policies, our people should be able to understand them. Because if they understand, they are going to own the policies, they are going to own the laws, they are going to respect the laws, they are going to own the development agenda. Right now, we're talking about Malawi 2063. We had the Malawi Vision 2020. Even if we ask most people who have been in the university, whether they understand even the pillars which were in the Malawi Vision 2020, you'll find that it's almost none. So that's why we end up having citizens blind and few politicians pretending to have the eyes and pretending to give the direction for the people. Now the Chakwera administration is saying the destiny of Malawi cannot be defined by the government alone or those in public offices. The destiny of Malawi must be defined by the people of this country. So civic education ministry is the ministry for the people, the ministry that we have to own as a people, have to take it as our own, a tool that we can use as citizens to empower ourselves, because it's only an informed citizen that can actively and meaningfully participate in the development of the country. So this is what civic education and civic engagement is all about. It's actually about the citizens.
Okay, thanks for your explanation. I'll just ask one follow-up question to that. And the follow-up question is, considering the problems that we've been having in Malawi, one of those problems is the rampant corruption that is there. How do you feel civic education can provide solution to issues like that?
Yeah, civic education is going to keep the citizens in the know. Citizens will be able to know how the government operates. They'll be able to understand even the public finance laws and policies. That means they'll be able to easily detect corruption because they'll be informed. You see, corruption is multifaceted. We think Anti-Corruption Bureau alone can deal with corruption. No, it's not possible. The job of the Anti-Corruption Bureau is basically just to provide a policy lead of the fight against corruption. So civic education opens the eyes and the ears of the citizens, and it empowers the citizens to become patriotic to the extent that the citizens will know for sure that our job is basically to stand up and fight this vice. And corruption is not done by animals, or it's not done by machines. It's done by the people. So if the people are empowered and the spirit of patriotism is inculcated in the people, they will not abuse public funds. They will look at that as a taboo. This is what my ministry is looking at, to say, how can we bleed, or how can we build values in the citizens from tender age, that when they grow, they should know that if it is not mine, I cannot take it. We want to inculcate ethical values from tender age. That's why we are planning to reintroduce civics And we don't want it to be only civics, but it has to be civics and citizenship studies. The studies that will embody the value of a citizen in our people, so that our children, as they grow, they go to school, they're actually exposed to values of citizenship. Corruption is not a value of citizenship. And when we talk about corruption, sometimes we try to massage this evil. We have to call it by its name, that is theft. So we have to tell our children that they don't have to steal. If they cannot steal from their brother, what about stealing from the public? So if they grow conscientized and believing that this is a vice and this is evil. So through civic education ministry, we are engaging the Ministry of Education to say, let us reintroduce civics. And within civics, we are going to have topics such as transformative national values. You know, we are already engaging the nation on the development of national values. You know, in our country, we cannot say as Malawians we have collective values. No. In America, for example, any American, when you ask them, they will tell you to say, we as a people of America, we believe in the three cardinal values.
Okay.
The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So these are some of the things that when we decide as a people, we start planting in the children, regardless of our cultural, traditional, regional, or political differences. We should all believe that we are Malawians. And as a Malawian, I'm ready to die for such values. Within civics, we are going to teach our children on what we call, you know, ethics, morals. So that our children be growing with morals, uprightness, integrity, etc., etc.
Anduna musanapitirire ndimati a little bit ndi khalenga tindakubweza ni mbuyo pang'ono kuti tisakhalenga tapita kutsogolo kwambiri nkuiwala zinthu zofunikira kwambiri. Ndiyankhulireponso anzanga amene amamva mchichewa kunena kuti poti nkhani tikunena tumakhamabwereza kuti ndi civic education, mukuona kuti tipange engage anthu ambiri amene ali m'midzimu ona mbewe oyiya kumudziko, tiyankhule nawo ndithu mchiyankhulidwe chimene angamve. Ndiyeno panopa one of the things imene munakambapo mbuyomo munakamba kuti boma lanu linapanga empower ma citizens ndi lamulo lija mumanena kuti Access to Information Act edi ndimene tinaona kuti Idris Anasaja anapezeka kuti agwira ndithu zinthu zina zimene zili zosokonekera. Komano wena nkumanena kuti chimene chinathekera pamene pajapo nkunena kuti awawa a Idris akumva chizungu. Komano pali anthu ambiri m'midzi amene sakudziwa ndipo sangathe kupanga understand kuti pali malamulo chifukwa chakuti limene makhavuto lalikulu ndokuti malamulo athu ali mchiyankhulidwe chonena kuti anthu ambiri samamva chizungu. Inuyo unduna wanu uyikapo ndondomeko zanji zonena kuti malamulo amene mukunena aja nzika zenizeni za kumalawi ndizija sizimayankhula chizungu, sizimakhala pa ma Facebook ngati inu ndine panopo, koma nzika zenizeni zili kumudzi kuja. Sono inuyo ngati boma mukuna kuti muli fully geared kuti mufuna kuwapanga empower anthu akumudzi. Ndondomeko zimene musankhepo kuti mwayikire mwina chiyankhulidwe chimuyikapo ndondomeko zoti mwina mupange interpret malamulo athu aja mchichewa kapena mchitumbuka kapena mchiyawo. Ndimangofuna ndifunseko pamenepo.
Ya ndifunso lofunikira kwambiri, and ndikufuna nene kuti tikamanena kuti malamulo akuyenera kutumikira Malawi. Ndezi zinthu zimenezi zikamangokhala mu chizungu, nthawi ina anthu athu samamvesesa ndithu. And pa malamulo there is a principle of law imene manena kuti ignorance of law is no excuse. We are governing people who do not understand our laws. Ndikufuna ndinene kuti inde fundo imene ndiyofunikira ife kunduna wathu tikuganiza kuti we should push kuti malamulo akale simplified muziyankhulo zimene Malawi atakumva, so that Malawi aziziwa kuti zimene ndikupanga zinthu zolakwika. Number 1. Number 2, pali mfundo inanso imene takati kukambirana imene tikufuna tipange engage ngati boma, kunena kuti ku parliament kwathu kuja kusamango yankhulidwa chizungu choka. Chizungu chikalepo koma pakale ma languages amene azipangidwa interpret maybe my key languages, mwina each language from each region, so that my MPs yatu akamayankura zija tikamapita kuma international workshops amanena kuti if you go on one you find French, if you go on two you find Portuguese, if you go on three you find English. Ku parliament kuja kuzikara translation ngati meneyo, so that MP akafuna kuyankura zita kuyankura chakwao kuti andu ake azimvesesa kuti akutipangati represent zimene tamutuma. So nkhani ya chiyankuro ndiyofunikira kwambiri, ndipo ndikufuna ndikuthokozeni comrade kuti maganizo amene mukuyankhulawo ni maganizonso amene tuganiza kunduna watu, and we need your support chifukwa tili ndi ma experts ambiri amene tikufuna kuti aperekepo maganizo pamenepa kuti tipange bwanji ngati dziko.
Ndakumva na nduna apapa nditembenukira kwa Mai Changa Kamwambi, Miss Changa, muli ndi choti muonjezerepo pamenepo?
Ndiyankhoye mchewa ndiyankhoye mchizungu apa zivuta kwambiri.
Yeah, yankhulani mmene mungathere ka mchizungu tizitho.
All right, so let me take. So you covered wonderful topics. I think there were all these questions in my mind about the laws, about the policies. You talked about town halls. I know, and I know here in the U.S., our city councils are usually the main or the first line of engagement for any citizen who has a question about any aspect of government. And then we also have, other avenues for engagement, such as, education school boards, where, parents can come, or any concerned citizen, and raise issue and questions about how some of these, aspects of the administration are being run. So, and then Minister Mahara, you kind of touched on the other question that I had. So we talked about this last mile. We call it in technology, we call it the last mile, or in logistics, we call it the last mile. I mean, can we really practically say that you'll really be able to get to that last citizen that, that, I don't know who's where, Chitipa, I guess we can say, on Sanje, right at the end of Malawi, with your message. And the question is, how will you measure success? Because that weakest link is what makes or breaks your civic education strategy. It's okay if you talk to me, but I can go find that information myself, as can probably all the other people in Blantyre, Lilongwe, what have you. But that weakest link, that last mile, how will you measure success?
Mwina a comrade Musana yankita afuse koso achalo kuti inuyo from a British perspective mukuona kuti zimene ayankhula Mai Kamwambi ababa ndi zimene anayankhula nduna aja kuti izizi akukamba za last mile. Chifukwa choti nthawi zambiri chimene chimakhala chovuta sikuti ku Malawi kuja sitimatha kuyika malamulo. Ku Malawi timadziwika ndithu kuti ndife anthu amene timakonda kupita mu ma conferences, kupita kumangochucho kalemba malamulo ndi zinthu zotero, koma implementation imakhanga imativuta. Ndi apa pamwina anthu ambiri akhoza manena kuti anthu atonse musanalowe mboma mmatokota kwambiri mayankhula zinthu zambirimbiri, koma tikuona kuti munayankhula zinthu zambiri koma delivery ya zinthu zija munapanga promise anthu aja mwina si kutheka. So apa Mai Kamwambi akufunsa the last mile. Mwina comrade Chalo ntakufusani inuyo from your angle mukuziona kuti mungaikepo ndemanga yanji.
In terms of civic education itself, I think kwa ineyo ndikuona kuti tiyambe kuyang'ana kuti tikuyambira pati, because what I see is the ministry has been created and programs are being set up. Zonse zimene kamba zapa bwalozi. Okay, from now going forward, we know what is happening. Koma nangasono kodi tika ma foundation otani kuti these things should be continuing throughout. The minister at one point talked about introducing civic education. I remember back in the days, tiri primary timapuzira civic education. I don't know kuti inatera kuti. Koma what I know ndo kuti civic education imene inatithandiza kwambiri to know the national values of our country. Komaso even izinthu zina zimene zili basic civic education imene mafunika. Komaso if we look at the UK perspective of civic education, you will see kuti amazigawa magulu. They're almost like 5 areas. They focus on the people having power and understanding of what is happening. They focus on the place, which is the investment that the government does on the local communities to promote civic engagement and civic education. They focus on the social sector, that is the non-governmental organizations, getting them involved so that it is a collective effort rather than just focusing on one ministry. Also, they involve the private sector. Yeah, when the private sector are involved and well coordinated, they all drive the agenda of civic education. And finally, it's the public sector themselves, the government, that drives that agenda, and it's all like it's coordinated and everyone is involved, rather than just letting it go, okay, it should be Ministry of Civic Education. When we do that, we create a gap, because the Ministry of Civic Education itself probably cannot fulfill things in time. Commercial Paka and Magap, maybe in terms of funding, they cannot have enough funding. But when it is well coordinated and embedded in our system, it becomes easier going forward.
Okay, can
I just jump in, because I think that's another issue I was going to raise when you talk about it being embedded. I think a few weeks ago we were chatting, and I gave a parallel in corporate responsibility. Maybe like 10 years ago, corporate responsibility was something every company was trying to engage. We didn't really understand what it was, but I remember I was working for a $23 billion company, Ahold, grocery retail, and our CEO stood up and he said, if we have to build a corporate responsibility department and staff it with all these people who are going to do corporate responsibility, we have failed. Because corporate responsibility, kind of like civic education, is an enabler. It's a mindset, it's an attitude, it's a behavior, it's a cultural change. So like you said, it has to be embedded in the way of doing things. It has to become a culture. That's the same thing with civic education. It has to become a culture. And it has to be the way of doing things of government. If you come to the United States, whenever you go to a government office, you're going to be given information about the process, what you're supposed to do, what the office is going to do, and then somewhere on that, in that interaction, you're also going to find out your rights and responsibilities, such as your rights to appeal, or your right to, even in this micro scale, ask about your own information or receive a reason why, just say your application was denied or approved. These are the little things that we just take for granted out here. But I think in Malawi, I don't think anybody even knows if they can go to an office in the government and ask, hey, why didn't my application get approved? Whether it's a month, 3 months, 2 weeks, whatever out. It's usually you have to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And the majority of people don't know anybody who knows anybody who knows anybody. So just to piggyback on what you said, Chalo, yeah, it has to be embedded in the system. And Comrade, I know you've got the questions and you've heard the comments, and I know you'll answer it well.
Yeah, I think mena nenera chemwali changa papa kunena kuti amanena kuti mchizungu amati systems are never corrupt by themselves. Ndiyeno pamayenera kukhala kuti tiyang'ane what's inputting our systems, chimene chikutuluka ma systems ajandiyani. Now apa tinakambapo nkhani yayikulu, ndifunanso ndibweresenso nkhani ina ya citizen engagement. Koma tinakamba nkhani yayikulu mwina anduna muphatikiza zonsezi poyankha poti sitinakwase mpata kuti muyankhe. Koma timanena kunena kuti tikaona nkhani ya Idrisa Niseja imakamba za 6.2 billion tiona kuti system mwina pena pake inagwira chinthu chija. Fati ndaona mbuyomu kunabwera maripoti ochokera kwa Mai Chezuma kunena kuti pali zina zake zikusokonekera, ndiye tinaona kuti system ija inapitika, komano mwina panalinso level ina yake mwina ya human capacity mwina imene inatikanika titalandirano ma systems aja. Apa ndofuna ndibwerese nkhani ya accountability. Chimene chikumavuta kwambiri kumawa kuja ndikuonera kuti tione kuti anthu amba kukhulupirira zija timanena kuti timatha kulemba zinthu zambirimbiri posachedwa kuti naona anzathu timatandana Thandiwe Hara ndi aonjezani kenani anayika initiative yayikulu nkuona kuti mtundu wa Malawi unakhulupirika kubwera pamodzi nkumamvesesa zinthu zija. Chinthu chimene chinali chofunika, I think the underlying thing inali kunena kuti anthu anazibweresa zonse zija pambalambanda. So wena nkumanena kuti I think chimene chikumavuta Malawi kuja information anthu sakumayidziwa chifukwa choti kunachuluka bureaucracy. Ndiyeno inuyo unduna wanu uchitapo bwanji kuti zinthu zija tizitha kumalondola kuti government yatenga ndalama zanga za misonkho yukagwirisira ntchito kumankhwala mwina yukapanga chakuti koma sitikumaziona zimene zizi zikuchitika. Sono inuyo unduna wanu uyikapo madongosolo anji ngati civic education?
All right, we have had a lot of questions and remember all of them and respond. To begin with, there was a concern that as a country, policies, good laws, but I think one of the major challenges we've been facing is, one, we have a challenge of implementation, enforcement, as well as accountability. We develop very beautiful documents, but we never sit to reflect and look at where we are, what we have done so far. You know, a great Greek philosopher called Socrates said, an exempt life is not worth living. We need to sit down and reflect, look at where we're coming from, where we are, and we can project the future. So our perennial failures has been implementation. We dream beautifully. We always have good and beautiful dreams, but when it comes to fulfillment and implementing the same, zero. That's why when we got to 2020, Agenda 2020, we had done very little. So this government is trying to do things differently. We are trying to promote citizen engagement so that the citizens are empowered to the extent that they are able to question and hold government accountable. When I was talking about the Pabuaro Government and Citizen Engagement Forum, the purpose for that forum shall be that citizens will be able to demand a Ministry of Health and ask them on how they're implementing the healthy policies and what kind of outcomes or what kind of impact are we getting from the same. So the Government Citizen Engagement Forum will be represented, will be an all-inclusive platform where we have experts in all the areas, economics, you know, you talk about health, you talk about, you know, social work, you talk about even akabaza, you know, agarepo, kuti na also ma concerns ours in Vega. We don't want to make it kuti zanta unika chan wina yense representative wa mafumu azakaraposo. Mafumu azikweraso na also zachita raise ma concerns yao. We want to promote the culture of transparency. This is not the government where we'll be doing things in secret. We have nothing to hide. For Christ's sake, we're dealing with public service. That's why we're here, to subject ourselves to citizens' engagement and citizens' questioning. Now, Comrade Canga talked about the whole issue of how to measure the successes. You know, when I came into the office of Civic Education Ministry, one thing that I looked at, I said, we need a policy framework to guide us on the implementation of civic education initiatives in this country. In November, within 6 months after we were sworn in November, we were able to come up with a policy, the first ever civic education policy in this country. Now, within that policy, we have developed a comprehensive implementation plan or implementation strategy of the same. Now, what we're going to do is to develop a comprehensive M&E strategy for the same. And these documents, we're not going to allow them to sit down and start gathering dust. We have to make sure that we are engaging with the documents and we're giving citizens an opportunity to ask us questions where necessary. Now, Chalo talked about, how diverse is the whole issue or sector of civic education in the UK. He talked about it is people-centric, centered on the people, and ensuring that people are given the necessary power. He talks about the place, social sector, like the NGOs. He talked about the private sector. He talked about the public sector. You know, our civic education policy puts the Minister of Civic Education as a policy holder and a policy coordinator. All the sectors that you mentioned, the citizens, the NGOs, the National Initiative for Civic Education, the public sector and the private sector, they're basically put to be, critical stakeholders in the implementation of civic education in the country. So what we're saying, everybody must be involved. It is not the work of the ministry alone. It is not, a process of people sitting and they say, let's watch what the ministry is going to do. We must all understand that we must be paramount and critical stakeholders in the civic education of the country. That's why even the whole issue of COVID-19, NGOs must do their part. Faith institutions must do their part. We talk of religious leaders and the traditional leaders must do their part. It's our collective responsibility. And our job as a ministry, as a policy holder, is to coordinate the rest of the civic actors. So we are following the same model. And I know as a country, we're going to do it. We're going to achieve it because we have got a leadership with a vision. We should all support our captain, our leadership, and all is possible.
Right, Honorable Minister, I know time is running out, but maybe I just wanted to touch something in regards to your other part of your ministry, which is national unity. Obviously, Malawi, we know it's got all the factors that are needed for national unity. We are peaceful at the moment. The security is not that bad. We have a good government in power. The rule of law is now taking its course. But the question that I want to focus on is in regards to these cultural groups. Do you think they are being helpful to Malawi? In the sense, I'll give an example of like Mulako and our colleagues in Chewa Heritage. I know there's quite a number of them. Do you think they are helpful to Malawi or they're just becoming breeding grounds for nepotism? And what is your ministry going to do looking at these situations, and what solutions are there to make sure that these cultural groups works for the better of the Malawian culture rather than just promotion of nepotism?
You know, the cultural heritages are very important. You can never have your identity without having a specific culture that you hold dear. Our ministry realizes the importance of the cultures, the cultural heritages. Now, you know, one of the missing links before, Chimene Chimavut and Choti, Asogoredife, Timata Gurisa Soma cultural heritages to divide the country. When you see a leader is leaning towards a cultural heritage of his origin, it brings division. When you see leadership probably is giving positions to the cultural heritage, to the people from his cultural heritage, it brings discontent and it brings chaos in the country. So what my ministry is actually doing is to say, we are beautiful in diversity. We want to promote unity in diversity. We cannot be the same, all of us. So we want to make sure that we promote all the cultural heritages. But the first thing we need to do is to depoliticize our cultural heritages. So we are engaging the Malawi Association on Cultural Heritage to make sure that we should come up with a code of conduct that is going to protect our cultures. Let our cultures be the cultures. We don't need politics to get into our cultures. So we are promoting what we call a day of national unity and cultural heritage. This day is a day that we all as Malawians will be coming together to celebrate our diversity. We would want our leaders, all of us, to get together, to get on one platform, and we celebrate each other. That will promote unity in diversity. On the other hand, it will also basically help to make our people to start understanding each other better. Pena baches machitika muntu kungoti ine kodi asimandibowa is bunch. Our tumbuka mandibowa, chewa mandibowa rom, popanda chifukwa. That is the spirit that we want to kill, so that we start understanding each other and moving together as one country.
I anduna takumvani ndithu aba menana nenera brother Chalo kunena kuti tifusepo za national unity nanga situ kudziwa ti dzikoli mene lili Malawi we know kuti it's not monolithic ndiyeno tikudziwa kuna kuti ndife anthu osiyanasiyana ndi imene imatipangisa kukhala Malawi wokongola koma azikhala Malawi wokomera onse. Kumbuyo kuti kudziwa kuti inu anzathu atonse imene mapanga kampeni mumanenetsa kwambiri kuti one of the things chimene muzapange break chimene mudzachose ndi kuchosa mchitidwe cho umakondera mtundu umodzi mwina kumakondera anthu ambali imodzi. Ndeno I think pano pati mangofuna tidziwe kuti ndondomeko zanu mukuchita bwanji koma ndifuna ndafunse Mai Changa mwina iwo ali ndi chowonjezera pa nkhani ngati zimenezi.
No, I just wanted to tell the comrade that you have a great task ahead of you. I mean, like you mentioned, this is the first time we've had the Ministry of Civic Education and national unity. And this is a setup for, the future, because we know that in the right hands, civic education can really be a blessing to the nation and further development. But in the wrong hands, it can end up a propaganda tool of some sorts and can be very destructive. So I think these next 5 years, you're really doing a critical work for this nation, our nation, Malawi. And this is the setup for, this is the setup for the rest of whatever else is coming for us, the rest of our future.
Ndithu I think menanenera babamu iyi nkhani ya national unity ku Malawi kuti nkhani imene ili yovuta. Timadziwa kuti ife ngati Malawi timagawana kwambiri pa mitundu ndi zinthu zambiri. Timamva nkhani zonyozana koma Malawi amene tikumufuna ndi Malawi amene munatilonjeza ngati azisogolera kuna kuti tizakhala Malawi omakhalirana anthu tikumagwatirana. Ine mayi anga akunyumba ndakubalaka ine ku north ndiyeno tikufuna Malawi wa mtundu umene uchaona kuti tizitha kukhalirana limodzi ngati Malawi onse. Komano ndisanapitirire mwina pa nkhani imeneyi ndimafuna ndifunse china chake anduna inuyo ngati amene muli responsible for national unity pali nkhani imene timanena kuti partnership. Tikuona kuti pali zinthu zambirimbiri zimene zimachitika kumudziko kunena kuti pali magulu awo anthu ena amati ndife ma marginalized groups mwina magulu azimayi mwina magulu anyamata tisanangoyamba kukamba za mitundu kapena heritage and culture koma pali the marginalized groups amene timanena ngati amene wanyamata. Inu yomwe ikapo ndondomeko zanje fati namva likuyamba tonse boma la tonse panali kudandaula kuchokera m'mabwalo kuchokera kwa azimayi kuti ife sakuti ikataona niso mmene apangira ma choices za cabinet ija kunazaonanso m'mabodi muja manali nkhani zambirimbiri zosatanya mataso ndithu adakwiya kunati ife achichepere simukutiganiza kuti tilowe mboma. Inuyo ngati unduna wanu muyikapo dongosolo lotani fa izizinso ndi mbali ina ya national unity.
Ndikufuna ndikuthokozeni funso labwino kwambiri. Tikamanena kuti national unity or tikamanena kuti empowering citizens, we need to look at those who are highly disadvantaged, those who are lagging behind. We know our mothers and sisters, they've always lagged behind, and there must be deliberate policies to make sure that we uplift them. The Ministry of Gender is doing a good job, and I would like to highlight that the ministry itself has got very good policies. The challenge we have had is the implementation of the same. So I would say we need to make sure that we are implementing what we have put in place. Here in our country, it doesn't mean that we have bad laws. We have very good laws promoting persons with disabilities, very good policies to promote young people, the youth. We need to meaningfully engage young people in development. Now is the time that we should stop using people for our young people for our political benefits. Our young people are looking for employment. Our young people are looking for capital for business. Our young people are looking into the future, and they want the future they can trust and believe in. We politicians have let our young people down. In most cases, we send them to do violence. Even if you look in social media, as I'm speaking, maybe some young people are busy inciting on social media. Our young people are wasting time doing wrong things instead of thinking about their future and the future of their country. So this government is actually coming in with a commitment to implement the already existing policies. And where there are gaps, we are going to ensure that we introduce the new ones. So what I would like to say, our message for now is that, look, we want to organize voices of our people. regardless of what they are and who they are and where they are. We want to discipline the voice. Without discipline, we cannot go far. The time for fighting is over. If we have issues with each other, let us effectively engage each other in an open dialogue process. We have to show love to each other, and we have to be patriotic citizens. So I would like Lily to thank you so much for this question, because when we talk about divisions, we always think about things like culture, politics, and the like. But I think we need also to think about the different statuses that we occupy in the society. We see some people growing and some people lagging behind. This government is going to deal with the issue of inequalities. By doing that, we don't mean we're going to weaken the strong. We are going to make sure that where the strong are there, we start uplifting those who are weak. That's why the Agenda 2063 is talking about wealth creation. We cannot be talking about our country developing or moving forward while our people are still in abject poverty. So we need to deal with, proper, development policies and making sure that we start injecting, capital in our people. When you look at the banks, I'm very passionate about this. Our banks have got very repressive interest rates. And even for you to think of going to bank to get a loan for you to start business is an impossibility. So as a government, we have to look into all those issues so that we make sure that people, regardless of who they are, they're actually able to change their lives. And when it comes to government positions, you have seen the response from the government. This is a listening government. When the judges were being appointed, we saw that there was progress. So we listen, and we cannot solve some of these problems within an overnight. It will be gradual, but this government looks at the agency to make sure that there is agency. We have to make sure that we empower our people, regardless of who they are. Our sisters have lagged behind. It's time for them to get in front. For me, for one, I believe that when you give a mother an opportunity to do something, I've worked with many people, but when I work with women, they have always performed like stars.
Yes,
so it's time for us to make sure that we empower them, we give them an opportunity. It's not time to abuse them. They are not secondary citizens. They are primary citizens, and the paramount stakeholders of this country. Yeah. So we can assure you that this government and our ministry is going to make sure that we work with all the ministries, because my ministry is more like a central ministry. We engage with the Ministry of Gender on gender issues. That's why these days, any problem in the country, people say, what is he doing, the Minister of Civic Education? I understand people. I understand them, because my job is basically to coordinate and engage with all the ministries. Mm. That's why last year we signed a contract, an MOU with the Anti-Corruption Bureau, that we have to work together to make sure that we raise awareness on the evils of corruption. But I think on the same, we need enough resources and we need enough support from the citizens, because we can't do it alone.
Mwina ndisana abweresa balewa kuti tukhanga tafika kumalechereche nthawi imene tinali nayo for program iyi. Komano ndikufuna kuti tisana abwerese Mai Changa ndi Mr. Chalo apa ndimafuna ndikufunse ndikunena kuti mwakamba ndithu zomveka, komabe nkhani tikumabwerera kumbuyoku kumanena kuti paumakhala ma promises, kumakhala mapangano ambiri, boma lili likudziwika kuti limatha kuwapanga promise anthu. Komano anthu ena ake akunena kuti kodi niyo ndondomeko zimene mwayika fatu kumaona kuti mwina vana amene amaliza makoleji akungokhala koma mumakatenga anthu ena kuti mwina anapanga retire nkwabwezeresa so mmene mujamo. So tikunena kuti ma incubatory processes awanaja kind of apprenticeship programs boma limwe tipangirapo zotani zimene zizi mukafusa achawo zikajoloweka kumeneku akuza kuti ndi nkhani imene iliyofunikira chifukwa chokuti president achakwera ndi Saulo Chilima adasaina ndithu amati manifesto ya youth ndi manifesto ya azimayi, komano paoneka kuti padakaliti ma existing barriers. Ndeno inuyo ngati civic education tikufuna kuti muti pase chilimbikiso pano pangati anthu poti mumanena kuti iyi ndi feedback program yokuti mufuna kumva kudandaula kwa anthu. Ineyo pano ndikuyankhula ngati munthu wayimira anthu kunjaku. Ndizi dandaulo zimenezi ndimakhala ma programs anga amene ndimakhala ndikupanga engage kwambiri ma citizens. And nkhani imene makhala kubwera kwambiri ndionera kuti iya tukhanga ndi ma promises akumachuluka koma zotiikira ndi ndondomeko sitikuonapo. Ndeni mafuna mutandiuza kunena kuti what are the programs nafunsa pomwe incubator programs fa mwana wamalizani zaka 23 mukumuza takhale ndi resume yake yonesera ndi experience ya 10 years zichokera kuti so boma likwena tilikepo chinthu chonena kuti pakhale ndondomeko ndimuti unikirapo bwanji pamene kuti tisanamalize program.
All right, thanks very much. This is a very important question. And actually, just after this discussion, I'm going to reach out to Comrade Kajoroweka. We should look at the Youth Manifesto and see on how best we can work together and try to promote what's in the Youth Manifesto. Yeah, indeed. Yes. I'll do that. But what I would like to say is that when you go to the Malawi Congress Party manifesto, you find that there is what we call the National Youth Service. The National Youth Service, or in short, I would say the National Service, it's a program that the government is working on. It's a program that will be more or less like an incubatory framework for the citizens. In other countries, like Tanzania, Kenya, you find that there is what they call national service. And mostly it is managed by the military or the police service. You know, when students finish their Form 4, they go through such a process. They are sent there, they are trained, they are inculcated values of citizenship, more or less like you are preparing them for great service. They are empowered with different skills, whether in tailoring, different technical skills, handcraft works, welding, agriculture. So we want to have a robust national service, the National Youth Service. And within the national service, we can have the National Youth Service, we can have the community service, that citizens, when they're done with their basic education, they should go there to be groomed. And when they're coming there, they have got skills. And each and everyone can open their own small business to start doing something. We are talking about the 75 billion loans. This is meant for youth and women. And probably there might have been a delay in the process to start dispersing and implementing the same. Because we found this program in a mess. It used to be MADEF, and there were a lot of challenges. It was taken as a political tool, and the money was being given to political cadres. So we are trying to reform it to make sure that should be a tool of empowerment for Malawian youth and women, regardless of who they are. We are not looking at any political party. We want to empower our citizens. When we look at our citizens, we don't look at them in political colors. So we're trying to correct that. There might have been some delays, but things are moving in the right direction. And I would like our people to also appreciate and understand that we have come into government at a very difficult time. The pandemic hit us so hard, and that has slowed some of the things to happen. For instance, people talk about 100 million jobs. With this pandemic, people have been losing jobs. You cannot even talk about to say you have not created jobs. When you look at the tourism sector, that has been employing a lot of people, you discover that many people have lost employment. So we need to ask our people to bear with us, and we don't have to say this is the job of this government. We must own this government. We are asking you, if you have ideas, bring the ideas on the table. We must work together. This is our country. When we're talking about the Third Republic, we need to do things differently. So I would like to assure young people in this country that the National Youth Service program is being cooked. And when we're done with that, we'll have something that we can be proud of as young people, as an incubatory sort of framework for the young people in this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Comrade Mtambo. For me, this has been such a learning experience today. And it's so exciting. I'm so excited. I'm excited for the Ministry of Civic Education and National Unity, and I'm so excited about Malawian Citizen Chat Network. And I look forward to all the wonderful discussions that you're going to have with Malawians, I'm sure, of all walks of life. Once again, completely, totally honored that you started with us in the diaspora and that you allowed us to be a part of this launch. It's truly an honor, and I've thoroughly enjoyed being here and engaging with you. Minister Mahara, what can we look forward to? What can we expect in the coming weeks, months, days?
Zimene zimwina tasira anduna ine ndikumayankhula chichewa pano fa ndikuzoto pali anthu ambiri amene akuyankhula akutionera akufuna kumva chichewa tsopano chichewa mmene mwanenera mukuti tiwayamika anduna mafunso langa lomalizira sinakufunseni koma ndikufunsani koma poti sister Changa andifunsa ndikufunsani kuti mukamatseka panopa mwina mutiuze fani ndikudziwa kuti ndi chinthu cha nyuwani chichi koma tifunsabe koma iye imene mwafunsira muje mwali ma program awawa a comrade anena ndithu kuti adzibwera panopa every Saturday every Sunday osati Saturday Sunday nthawi yake yomweyi imene tinayambira ngati lero kumene kundi 8 o'clock ku Malawi kuno ndi inali 1 o'clock ku UK I think ndi 6 o'clock kuti pakhale ndithu kumvana pakati pa atsogoleri ndi anthu kukhale kupanga exchange ideas government isangokhala ngati autopilot ikhale ndithu kuti nduna nzika za dziko ndi zimene zikhale zikulamulira ndiyeno tikufuna titenge mapaderadera kuti iye aya nduna tikuthokozeni kwambiri komanso pali dongosolo limene akhonza kunena kuti akuyika ndithu Facebook page yawo imene ikhale specifically for this chat ndi pakhalanso ma Twitter accounts kuti amene mufuna muziwa apanga follow mukhozokhalamo ndipo tikhala tikumakuwuzani zimene zikuchitika kutsogoloko akuti pakhala kupereka ma data bundle sichoncho mmene ananenera kunena kuti pakhala amene mubweresa anthu apange like page yawo ndi page imene akufuna ziyankhwako ndi nduna amene mukhale mukubwera kutsogoloko kukhala zinthu zambiri zimene akhale akumakuwuzani ndiye muwauze muwameme anzanu kumene aliko kuti adzibwera panopa Sunday amvane ndi anduna timve zimene atikonzera kuti ndi chani koma mwapaderadera amene anena moja ndifuna ndathokoze koma tisanapite apapa minister before I bring brother Chalo kuti iniyo mutitsekere pamalo pano ndikudziwa chinthu ichichi mwakhala kunena kuti it took a nerve from you ndi chinthu chonena kuti ndikudziwa kuti inuyo mukudziwa kuti pa social media pano ndi pamalo povuta kwambiri ndi malo achabechabe nthawi zina koma inuyo mwalimba mtima ndimangofuna ndifunse kunena kuti zakupangani affect bwanji fa ndikudziwa kuti anafunsa kuyambirira kuja kuti munali ku civil society koma pano pamuli mu government chimene chichi chakupangani affect bwanji kuti mwina mukamapita kutsogoloko mwalimba mtima bwanji kuti mupitiriza kuwapezabe anthuwa fataona a lot of insults you've been akuitanani mayina ambirimbiri ndeno mwalimba mtima bwanji ndipo chikukupangana affect bwanji ndipo mwatsimikizira bwanji anthu amene akukukayikirani panopa fa anthu ambiri ena akukayikirani anena kuti ayi izizi mwina sitikwamvesesaso anduna aja nde inuyo mwayankhula bwanji anthu amene wakumverani pano unati mwayang'ana mtundu wa Malawi ufuna umve mayankho kuchokera kwa inu chilimbikitso chimene mungawasire kupita chitsogolo kuchokera pano chikhala chani
zikomo kwambiri ndikufuna nnene kuti nthawi zambiri chinthu china chache chachilendo chikamayamba anthu kumakala kukayikira ndikufuna nnene kuti tikuyamba movement yathu HRDC anthu ambiri ananena kuti izo tinayesapo kale zinakanika simuzikwanisa paja kumalawi ndi mtima woti tikamaona chinthu chanyuwani chikamachitika nthawi yambiri timakonda kupanga na discourage mtima wa sanje umene ukuyenera kutheratu we need to be lifting each other up if we have the spirit of lifting each other up our country is going to rise we shouldn't be praying every time somebody gets to do something to say we should start waiting on the day it's going to fall. We have to be supportive on each other. Indeed, Some people were asking me a question to say, look, social media is tough, and we have seen many people attacking you on social media. Are you not subjecting yourself to more attacks by getting publicly to the social media? The answer is simple. I am a son of the struggle. I don't fear anything, but I believe in people. I believe in the power of people. I believe that we should never run away from people, no matter how tough it might be. We should never fear to negotiate. You know what? We have conscientized our people. Our people have risen. But it's time for us to organize our people. We need to move with a collective vision. My appeal to all comrades across the country and beyond. When we have issues, let us talk to each other. This platform is called the Citizens, the Malawi Citizen Chat Network. This is where we are going to have intergenerational dialogues. It might not be me here. There might be another minister. There might be another director who says, I want to engage people on the platform. You are all welcome. This is your platform. So instead of us insulting each other on social media, why don't we pause and say, let us constructively engage? We have a country to develop. We have our young people that are looking up to us. We don't have to teach them insults. It pains me when I see our leaders, the president is addressing the country and people are throwing insults on the comment section. We need to respect our leaders. We need to respect each other. So this platform is a platform that anybody that has got issues, that has got proper ideas, I'm inviting you to this platform. Let us engage in a constructive manner. Because I believe through a constructive engagement, we are going to chart a collective development agenda. A development agenda that empowers or gives the capabilities in our people. A development agenda that recognizes that human capital is central to development. A development agenda that puts science and technology in the front seat of development. A development agenda that is going to recognize that we have got a planet and an environment to protect. So I love you, comrades, and I believe together we can make a difference.
Mawu amveka bwino anduna mwayankhula momveka bwinobwino amene ali ndi khutu wamva ndithu mmene tinanena moja tikuthokozeni kwambiri mwazipanga hambo mwadzitsitsa mwavomera ndithu kuti mukhoza kutenga mivi ndi mauta osamena kubwera kwa inu kuti iye ayi ine ndili mbantima ndine son of the struggle mwatero chichewa chizungu chake osaopa mwatero ndiyeno tikuthokozeni kwambiri kunena kuti Malawi amafuna that type of leadership. I think that's what we've been demanding. Canga, do you have any last words? And Chalo?
No last words. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ines, all right. Ines, what I can say is I just want to thank the Honorable Minister basically for starting this platform. It's very rare for politicians to put themselves up there for scrutiny and for questioning. It's not an easy thing, and I admire his courage. And for him to come to the public and also to call all members of the public there, the citizens, to get involved. Next time, it's going to be a different lineup because each one, he's giving opportunity to all Malawians. So if you have questions, if you have anything else that you want to discuss, something that will be beneficial for our country, Malawi, then just get in touch with the forum. You will come here, you'll be part of the citizen. And our Honorable Minister has even said that there might even be some guests, high-profile guests from the government that are willing to come and engage with the citizen. Because the idea of this platform is to get the citizen engaged with the leaders. So I personally want to applaud our Honorable Mtambo. This is a very good initiative to take courage to do all these things. It's the first of its kind, and well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ayamati wankulu akayankhula ifeso sitikuyenera kuyankhula yayi ndiye anduna poti mwayankhula kale ife tingokuyamikani tikuthokozeni tikwakumbusenso Malawi next Sunday tikhala ndi anduna akubweranso pa Malawi Citizen Chat Network. Iyi ndi platform yanu a Malawi mmene anenera muja ndi feedback platform. Mukakhala ndi mafunso musaope iyayi. China chilichonse chimene iniyo chikukuvutani chimene mufuna mudziwe tumizani mafunso ife tifunsa anduna ali pano azipereka kuti adzayankha. Ndiyeno mukhoza kupitiriza kupanga follow amene mumapanga follow Malawi Citizen Chat Network ikhala ndi page yake pa Facebook pompano tikhaso ndi Twitter account pompano anduna anena kuti ayika madongosolo amenewo. Ndepitirizani kutumiza mafunso onse mmene tinanenera muja poti pano tidakhalapo ndikale koma tikuthokozeni nonse amene munatenga nthawi yanu nkubwera pano kuti muyambe kumva zimene boma ndi anduna akuchita for anthu awo. Ndetitenge nthawi yongokuthokozani kuti mpaka kufikiranso Sabata ya mawa pa tsiku ngati lino la Sunday mukhale ndi wiki yopambana. Ziko.